Hey, guess who's back? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video, and today we are going to be doing a little kill count on Guardians of the Galaxy, which came out back in 2014. Now this might just be me, someone with irreversible brain damage. But I think that, the Guardians of the Galaxy is not just the best MCU trilogy. I think all three of these films are the best that the MCU has to offer. Director James Gunn fills these movies with so much heart and soul. They're easily the most emotional films in the entire series, which is a weird thing to say about movies featuring a talking tree and a talking raccoon. They're weird movies, don't get me wrong. We're weird in the, in a mainstream way, but these movies do have a very strong emotional core to them, and it allows you to really connect with these characters. These movies are a big reason as to why I wanted to become a filmmaker in the first place. They're everything I think an MCU movie should be. But how many kills can we find in this first Guardians of the Galaxy film? Well, let's get into it and find out. The film opens on Earth, more specifically, Missouri, 1988. This is Peter Quill, a young boy who's lost in the music of his Walkman. Quill's grandfather talks to him and brings him to his mother, who is not doing very well.
Man, you got a present there for Peter, don't you?
Of course.
She asks him to take her hand, but Quill just can't bring himself to do it, and she slowly passes on. Quill, distraught, runs out of the building. What a dark opening for this film, and it just makes this movie seem like it's going to be super grounded and serious, and then a fucking spaceship appears and it sucks him up. We then cut to 26 years later, and oh my god, this film looks absolutely incredible. One of the first things James Gunn did when working on this film was write a full 19-page document on the visual style of the film itself. He wanted this to be a space opera that brought color back to these kinds of movies.
Having a sort of postmodern aesthetic in terms of having a lot of contrast throughout the film, something very beautiful next to something very ugly.
This is best seen here on Morag, where the bright colors really pop out amongst the more gray and dark exterior of the planet. We also meet the now adult Peter Quill, who's got a sick jacket on. I want that. Give me that. And we get one of the most iconic openings to any of the MCU movies. Quill dances his way to some strange looking orb. He retrieves it and is immediately ambushed by space pirates. Quill, being a bit of an egomaniac, assumes they know him by his alter ego,
Star-Lord.
Who? Of course, a fight then breaks out. In the chaos, Quill disintegrates two of these soldiers using a cool space grenade. In the end, Quill manages to escape with the orb intact. Moments later, he is contacted by Yondu, his boss? Leader? Mentor? Maybe? I don't know. He is played by actor Michael Rooker, who is a close friend of director James Gunn and has appeared in every single one of his movies thus far. Yondu tells Quill that he wants the orb, but Quill rejects him and decides to keep it for himself. In response, Yondu puts a bounty on him while worrying about who else is after that orb. Then we learn who else is after the orb. This is Ronan the Accuser, a power-hungry alien. There's a lot of lore regarding this character that we will reveal slowly over the course of this plot breakdown. Just for now, know that he's evil. He's an evil guy. He's so evil, he bashes in the head of this guy. This is a Nova Corps officer. We'll learn a bit more about the Nova Corps in a bit, but for now, just know that they're space cops. It's revealed that Ronan has been hired by someone to retrieve the orb. To help him, he has the assistance of Gamora and Nebula, sisters and daughters of a powerful cosmic being. I mean, the two of them they're not sister and daughter. Whatever. He sends Gamora out to find the orb. This leads us to Xandar, a planet full of terrible people, like child, gamblers, and comic book writers. While there are a bunch of fantastical creatures present, Gunn still wanted things to feel somewhat grounded and believable. He created a lot of backstory and lore for just about every species featured in the film, no matter how big of a role they played in the actual plot of the film itself. Quill has arrived to sell the orb to this guy, who's just known as the Broker. Quill slips that he stole it from people who are working for Ronan, which causes Broker to freak out. He wants nothing to do with Ronan. Thus, Quill is kicked out of his store. Quill, you need to improve on your sales techniques. I call this one Smith & Wesson. Outside, he finds Gamora. Quill, trying to channel his inner cool, tries to hit on Gamora and just be all suave and stuff, before Gamora just snatches the orb from him and runs off. This causes a full-on brawl to break out. And, oh, hey, I forgot to mention this. Two other characters present here are the easily angered Rocket Raccoon and his mostly gentle companion Groot. They're both bounty hunters looking to get rich quick, and they might have just found their winning lottery ticket. Rocket Raccoon is voiced by actor Bradley Cooper, which you probably wouldn't be able to tell if you didn't know that prior. But on set, James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, provided the motion capture for the little guy. James seems to love having his brother play all kinds of CGI mocap creatures. He even had him play Weasel in the newest Suicide Squad movie. Unfortunately, things aren't so easy for them. Groot gets his arms cut off, which is an important detail, but you won't know why until later. Eventually, though, the fight comes to an end when the Nova Corps, the police of Xandar, arrive to arrest them. And, oh shit, they got John C. Reilly in this, let's go! They are then transported to the Kyln, a massive space prison. Rocket begins to brag about his experiences breaking out of multiple different prisons and thinks that this will be no problem.
I am Groot.
So what?
Oh yeah, that's all he can say. Groot is voiced by family man Vin Diesel, who also voices him in pretty much every dubbed version of this film out there.
Yo soy Groot.
Quill finds a man listening to his Walkman and confronts him before being tased, which leads us to a prison life montage. At the end of the montage, the group is antagonized by their fellow prisoners. They're all aware of Gamora's past. One guy tries to make his move, but things don't work out so well for him. This alien is played by Nathan Fillion, who is another James Gunn regular and will appear in his Superman film as the Green Lantern Guy Gardner. Just look at that hair! Later that night, Gamora is violently woken up and dragged away. Quill and Rocket overhear this and move to help her. As these violent criminals are about to kill Gamora, another man enters the scene. This is Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista. He recalls how his family was killed by Ronan and has been waiting his entire life to avenge them. Killing Gamora would be the first step in that. Thus, he takes this guy's knife and gets ready to go in for the kill before Quill finally steps in. He tries his best to reason with Drax and explains that they can keep Gamora alive as bait because eventually Ronan will come to retrieve her and the orb.
That's when you...
Why would I put my finger on his throat?
Oh yeah, he doesn't really understand metaphors, but we'll move on past it. Gamora also reveals that she has plans of her own with the orb. She intends to sell it for a lot of money. So Quill, Rocket, Gamora, and Groot agree to work together, split the money, and break out of prison. Also, Gamora apparently killed some guy here. It's not made a big deal of, but it happens. As you've noticed, there are a lot of colorful characters here. Many of the actors had to undergo intensive makeup in order to play their characters. They would be getting their makeup done for around 3 or 4 hours. Poor Dave Bautista couldn't even sit while they were applying his makeup. Angry about Gamora's betrayal, Ronan goes to speak with his master. Ronan talks with the other who we last saw in the Avengers doing evil bad guy monologue stuff. Ronan doesn't have time for henchmen and spins his head around Reagan style. Reveal Thanos, the weird purple guy from the post-credits of the Avengers. Thanos warns Ronan that if he shows back up empty-handed, he will bathe the starways in his blood. Now, if you're wondering why Thanos doesn't stand, this is a touchy subject. It's actually because he can't stand, or at least not for right now. He's actually temporarily paralyzed from the waist down due to a battle that he had. It caused a bullet, like a magic space bullet, like nailed him right in the spine, kind of like Professor X in that one movie. But due to space genetics, he could actually recover from this very, very quickly. It just takes like 2 or 3 months in Earth time. How many times can I gaslight people? The next day, the group start their breakout of the Kyln. Rocket explains that he needs a security band from one of the officers to get into the buildings, a battery, and most importantly, a prosthetic leg. The battery is connected to the building itself, and it will set off an alarm once it is removed. Thus, it is very important that that is the last thing they retrieve.
Or we could just get it first and improvise.
Thus, all chaos breaks out. Gamora is sent off to get the security band, Quill reluctantly goes for the leg, and Groot and Rocket.
Oh, yeah.
Now, since all of these things are drones, I'm not counting them. Fuck you, AI. The Groot manages to break into the main central hub of the prison, and Groot delivers the only kill of the sequence when he throws the guard against the wall. Also, Drax joins them because, why not? Why not? He needs friends. Yeah, he can come along. But more importantly, besides all of this, we need to learn what the prosthetic leg was for.
Oh, I was just kidding about the leg. I just need these two things. What? No, I thought it'd be funny. Was it funny? No, wait, what did he look like hopping around?
The group then managed to deactivate the artificial gravity in the prison, and this gives them enough time to escape. The group manages to reach Quill's ship, the Milano, named after actress Alyssa Milano. However, just before they leave, Quill realizes they forgot something important of his. Quill fights his way through and recollects his Walkman, much to the disappointment of Drax.
You're an imbecile.
On the ship, the group try and fail to get along. Rocket just starts building a bomb on the ship and almost opens Quill's present, but he isn't going to let that happen. Meanwhile, Ronan investigates the prison our heroes have just escaped from, and one of the surviving guards is stabbed, adding yet another cop onto the count. Eventually, our heroes approach their destination. Nowhere. The decapitated head of a space god known as a Celestial that has been turned into a mining colony. Fun fact, this is the first Marvel film to be shot with IMAX enhanced cameras. If you watch the film on Disney Plus, or I guess also if you see the clips in this kill count, the aspect ratio will change from the standard widescreen 240 aspect ratio to a full screen 190 aspect ratio to create a more immersive experience for certain sequences. Of course, it does not have nearly the same impact when viewed at home versus in the theater, but it still is incredibly effective, especially with that seamless transition. It really just draws you into this world. As the group wait to meet Gamora's buyer, they decide to chill out at a local bar. Quill and Gamora sneak off together and share a little moment. Things get interrupted when it turns out Drax and Rocket have caused a huge bar fight. In his drunken rage, Rocket reveals a little bit about his tragic past.
Well, I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
Drax, fed up with the group not being any closer to killing Ronan, sneaks off by himself. The rest of the group, however, go to meet Gamora's buyer. It turns out that her buyer is the Collector, the same guy from the post-credits of Thor: The Dark World. The Collector opens the orb and reveals that inside it is an Infinity Stone, an item of intense power. There is a lot of lore here, but it's the only thing that's important is that if you touch it, it'll go boom. That's all you need to know. If you touch that thing, it explodes. And that it also kills most of the people who choose to wield them. But mainly it's just a bomb. It's really a small little it's mini bomb. Before the Collector can pay them for the stone, his slave Karina sees this as an opportunity to free herself and grabs the stone. The energy and the power of the stone is then released and destroys the Collector's lab and kills Karina in the process. It also kills a bunch of other civilians and some of the other prisoners in the Collector's collection. Yeah. That's gotta suck, man. The team, now understanding what they were carrying around this whole time, decided that the best course of action is to deliver it to the Nova Corps. Unfortunately for them, Ronan has arrived thanks to Drax summoning him while the team was in their meeting. Drax and Ronan finally have their fight, but unfortunately Drax is easily overpowered by his opponent and is left for dead in what is that? Is that piss? The fuck is that? I don't know. Anyway, the rest of the team tried to escape in these little mining pods. Luckily, our heroes are expert pilots and managed to crash 10 of Ronan's ships. But unfortunately, Nebula manages to destroy Gamora's pod, leaving her for dead in the middle of space. Nebula then retrieves the orb and leaves. Quill, in response, calls Yondu and offers up his location before floating out to help save Gamora. He gives her his mask that allows him to breathe in space and is prepared to sacrifice himself for her. Luckily, however, Yondu arrives and abducts the duo. Quill and Gamora have a little moment together on the Ravager ship, where it seems like they're actually really beginning to connect. He also informs her that her sister now has the orb, but thankfully that's their only problem. Meanwhile, Rocket returns to Groot, who has just saved Drax's life. Groot, being the voice of reason, encourages the group to go and help save Quill and Gamora, much to Rocket's annoyance.
God, you're making me beat up grass!
While this is going down, Quill is being assaulted by the Ravagers before he can manage to talk his way out of things. He promises to give Yondu the orb after they get it from Ronan so that they can sell it. This revelation immediately alleviates the tension and they all begin to celebrate until... So Rocket's plan was to blow up the Ravager's ship. Luckily, however, that doesn't need to happen. With everyone reunited, the group have a discussion about what to do next.
I have part of a plan.
He has concepts of a plan. They all agree that facing Ronan means death, but they're willing to sacrifice everything to stop him. This scene really highlights why I love James Gunn as a filmmaker. It jumps between comedy and drama just so naturally. It's my favorite scene in the entire movie. Of course, I can't play most of it here, but if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, on Ronan's ship, Thanos FaceTimes the Kree warrior and demands that he give him the orb. Ronan refuses and attaches the stone to his big hammer and threatens to destroy Xandar and kill Thanos. Ronan is ableist because he hates people who cannot stand up. That's what I just heard. Then we get a badass superhero suit up montage. During the montage, Quill contacts John C. Reilly and lets him know about Ronan's attack and that they are here to help stop him. The Ravagers and the Nova Corps team up and begin to fight back against Ronan's ships. Now, things are gonna get a little chaotic here. And when I say a little, I mean a lot. I mean it's gonna get very, very chaotic. Spoiler alert, there are a lot of deaths from here on out. And it is almost impossible to get an accurate count. So to make things simple for us, we've decided that every explosion we see on screen is a kill. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but it's the best we could do. So get ready for some big numbers. During the battle, Yondu's ship crashes, but he's alright, don't worry. Rocket also stays back to help hold off Ronan's men, while the rest of the group break into his ship. And we're gonna add our first wave of kills here with 688 deaths. What the f***? Quill then manages to shoot down an additional 63 men because, hey, there wasn't enough bloodshed already. Also, after Yondu's ship crashes, he breaks out his secret talent, his voice of an angel. His whistles causes his magical arrow to fly through the air on his command, and he kills a whopping 21 of Ronan's soldiers here. Man, I sure hope we see that arrow again at some point, man. It's so cool. I hope he does it again. On the ship, Gamora finds and battles her sister Nebula, while the rest of the group fights Ronan's henchmen, including the guy from the very beginning of the film.
Star-Lord. Finally.
In the process, every single one of Ronan's men falls. Whether they're stabbed, thrown, well, whatever, they die. But the one who gets a very special death is none other than Korath, the man who didn't recognize Quill at the start of the film. Drax rips the wires from his head. Holy crap. Now, I personally think it's Quill who should have gotten the kill here, but hey, I'm all for Drax getting a one-liner.
Finger to the throat means death.
Just before our heroes can advance to the next level, Groot dispatches of the final wave of Ronan's men. Aw, look at how happy he is. He's a cute murderous psychopath. Gamora manages to defeat her sister and tries to encourage her to break away from Ronan. Nebula doesn't listen and flees the scene. Ronan, seeing that he's losing the battle, decides to show Xandar the true power of this battle station and blows up the Nova Corps ships. And we counted Yeah, that's a big number. It's a pretty big number. Yeah. Rest in peace, guys. You tried. In response, Rocket flies his ship into Ronan, which might have killed him, actually. But I'm not going to get too hasty with the kill graphic, because this ship it's crashing. Before Rocket crashed into the ship, however, our heroes did manage to kill another wave of Ronan's men. Also, Rocket killed 2 of the ship guides earlier. I don't know why I forgot to mention it until now, but hey, here it is. In order to save his friends from the crashing ship, Groot covers them in his branches. Rocket tries to convince Groot not to do it, but Groot, being the gentle giant he is, decides to reassure his best friend that everything will be alright.
We are Groot.
The ship crashes and our group has survived. It turns out that Ronan survived as well and begins to taunt the group.
Behold! You're guardians of the galaxy!
Hey, he said it. He said the thing. Ronan then gets ready to destroy Xandar once and for all.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter.
Quill manages to distract Ronan long enough for Drax to fire at Ronan's hammer, releasing the Infinity Stone inside, and Quill jumps to grab it. Upon touching it, the stone begins to destroy everything once again. During this time, Quill has a vision of his mother asking him to take her hand. Reveal Gamora, asking Quill to take her hand. In a moment of redemption, he takes her hand, and the stone begins to destroy her as well. To help save their friends, Rocket and Drax link together to share the power amongst them, much to Ronan's confusion.
You're mortal! How?
You said it yourself, bitch. We're the guardians of the galaxy.
Quill unleashes the power of the Infinity Stone onto Ronan and kills him once and for all. Gamora then places the stone inside of a new orb, and everything calms down. Quill warns Yondu that he shouldn't take the orb, given everything that just happened, but he doesn't really care. So Quill hands Yondu the orb, and they leave.
Yeah, Quill turned out okay. Probably good we didn't deliver him to his dad like we was hired to do.
Yeah, that guy was a jackass.
When we return to Quill and the rest of the group, we learn that he switched the orbs, giving him a fake one. The group hand over the orb to the Nova Corps for safekeeping. When talking to Nova Prime, the leader of the Nova Corps, she reveals that Quill is not entirely human. He's half human, half ancient alien. The Guardians then get ready to leave in a newly repaired Milano. But before they can take off, Quill needs to finish his character arc first. He finally opens up the gift from his mom, which reveals a very heartwarming letter and a new mixtape. He begins to play the mixtape, and we are presented to an ending montage. During this montage, Yondu opens the orb and discovers that Quill tricked him, much to his amusement. Also, Rocket planted one of Groot's branches, and he is seemingly growing back. Before they leave, Quill asks the Guardians what they want to do. Something good, something bad, or a bit of both.
Bit of both.
In the pre-credits, Groot dances. I don't know. I love this scene. James Gunn himself actually did the dancing for this scene. And you know, I'm glad he got to do some mocap for this. In the post-credit scene, we are reunited with the Collector, who is licking his wounds after his entire collection has been destroyed.
What do you let it lick you like that for? Gross.
That was Howard the Duck, a character made famous from the 1986 movie of the same name, where Leah Thompson tries to fuck him. This is not a complaint. I want to cover that movie on the show. How many people were killed in the Guardians of the Galaxy's first team-up? Well, let's get to the numbers and find out. In total, we counted 1,623 kills in this film, with 1,615 men, 2 women, and 6 unknown. Holy crap, this movie is going to hold the record for most kills for a long time. I think for a very, very long time. With a runtime of 122 minutes, that leaves us with a kill on average of every 0.08 minutes. What the fuck, dude? I'm giving the Completed Gauntlet Award for coolest kill to Groot. He died like an absolute hero and really helped to unify the team in the end. The Broken Ultron Bot Award for lamest kill has to go to the inmate Gamora kills in the prison. It happened so quickly, and I honestly forgot it happened until we marked it down for the kill count. So yeah, there you go. And that's it. Guardians of the Galaxy was a huge box office success, more than anyone was expecting, honestly. On top of that, it was really, really popular with critics, and it just, you know, all of these characters just somehow came into the mainstream. All of these B-list characters all were now household names. Groot was a household name. Rocket Raccoon, people know who that is now. So of course a sequel was made just 3 years after, and I can't wait to look at that film soon. But we must return to our usual programming with Avengers Age of Ultron, which we'll be exploring next time. Thank you guys so much for watching this kill count. As always, I want to say thank you to my sister for helping me count the kills and for making the kill graphics this time around. She worked really, really hard on this episode. This one was a bitch to count. So this, like I said, this episode, this show itself would not exist without her. So yeah, just thank you. Of course, I also want to shout out Dead Meat, who I took this idea from. I don't want to steal I don't want to take credit for their idea. So please, if you guys like horror movies and you like this style of video, go check their stuff out. I don't know why I had a long pause there, but go do that. Go show them some love. Keep the train moving. Keep the death train moving. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Long live cinema.